what number to use. So
little brother has taken control, shoveling dirt in every hole. Predators to condemn your soul, watching you and watching me. We're all connected but separated, misunderstood and so frustrated. A million armies of one have invaded, watching you and watching me. We live behind glass curtains and act like nothing's wrong. Soon you will belong. I know you're out there somewhere. We've watched you for so long. We wait for you to fall. We'll expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere. Watching me. Little brother wants to make headlines, be immortalized. Everyone's got an electric eye with the digital spies. They've watched you for so long. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. We the people have taken over. We the people are little brother, standing by to dethrone each other, watching you and watching me. Paranoid, the lens is our weapon, desensitized in our lust for attention, democratized by our voyeur obsessions, watching you and watching me. Slaves to perfection, don't let them project you as you are. Reveal your every flaw. I know you're out there somewhere. We've watched you for so long. Wait for you to fall. We'll expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. Little brother wants to make headlines, be immortalized. Everyone's got an electric eye with the digital spies. They've watched you for so long. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. I know you're out there somewhere. This is the new totalitarian state. 1,000 eyes are waiting for you to break. Stay in line, don't make a mistake. We're watching. We watched you for so long. We wait for you to fall. We will expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere watching me.
Approach Scout 6316, 8.8 for 6,000.
Scout 6316, North approach, still maintain 3,000, I'm 1 for the right.
3,000, Scout 6316.
Redwood 811, still maintain 4,000, airport's open to Fox 1.
Take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over again. Take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over.
6 Roman Terrafly runway heading runway 5. Let's take off.
Check.
And we're ready for takeoff. Sit back, relax. It's time to travel with Cosmic Passport. Spaced Out Weekend presents Elizabeth Anglin's Cosmic Passport, a 1-hour warm-up of news, stories, thoughts, and ideas to captivate your mind. You can follow us at spacedoutradio.com.
Now 20 years have passed us by, and we look back and count the time, burning like the summer sun when the world was young. As I lay staring from the ground, and 7 trumpets wait to sound.
And now, here's Our Lady of Flight, Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin.
Morning, Spaced Out Radio listeners. Thank you for being here tonight. This is Elizabeth Anglin, usually your host before the host James Tyson, but tonight I will be the third medium in 2 mediums and a medium. And before that happens, we're going to have some paranormal news and some regular news of the week for you, and just some thoughts and meditations about all of this craziness that's happening in our wonderful US of A, unless you're in Canada, in which case you can say, there but for the grace of God go I, and feel lucky. It's been a wild and woolly, crazy week. We're going into a full moon time on Tuesday, and the full moon this week is going to be, it has several different names, the hay moon, the thunder moon. But before we talk about what you can do to help yourself and help the world on a full moon, I think we should have some other announcements. Like, for example, did you know that you can become a spaced out radio space traveler? And I'm not talking about joining a human colony, as Max Steinberg was happy to tell us about last night with James Tyson. You don't have to, sign up to go off with Illyrans in a spaceship. No, it's really easy. You don't have to go anywhere or be faced with any aliens or anything untoward if you don't like aliens. You just have to go to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and look for the button and that says I want to be a space traveler. Click on it, and what's going to happen is the membership is only $5 a month, less than a very large cup of iced coffee. I know this because I drink too much of that. And in that membership, you will get a private section of our website for your own personal perusal. You'll be entered into monthly prize drawings, private postings for videos, photos, and experiences, and a private interview and a monthly newsletter. So it's a really good, cheap deal. We have some people writing. We're going to be doing some great stuff on there just for you. If you become a Spaced Out Radio space traveler, I would love to see you there. That being said, we've had both Jim and James, Mr. Tyson, and Dave Scott have been away this week at a paranormal event in Barkerville. And so I am here all by my lonesome. Well, I kind of was last night, as many of you know. But tonight I do have Dave running the board, so we want to thank Dave for that. I'm not in the chat room yet. I will get on there in a little bit. It's been interesting. It's been an interesting weekend and an interesting week. And I say that sort of in the highest sort of, instead of going, oh, wow, it's been total crap. How many people have we had kill people in the United States of America this week? Oh my goodness, it's so many. And I think that our response to this, and this has been what's, especially in the past 2 weeks with everything that's been going on, and even with Nice in France, that's not the United States, but with everything that's been going on, I think it's really important that we remember that we are all human beings, and most of us want what human beings want, and not to demonize each other or to put each other on the other side of a great divide, a great chasm of difference, and not to make things so black and white. Most of the time, if we can meet in the middle, if we can really honor each other as spiritual beings who are having a human life and who may have frustrations, there may be anger, there may be rage, there may be a post-traumatic stress. If we can start to try to open up a dialogue that doesn't contain name-calling or demonizing, we're all going to be better off in the long run. And if you don't know how to do that or don't feel like your voice is heard, there are also other spiritual methods. There, especially with the full moon that's coming up on Tuesday, there are ways that you can help, and it helps if you have a group of people around you who might be willing to do something with you. But my suggestion for the week, which was just absolutely terrible here in terms of violence and unexpected murder, is to really ask the angels and ask for spiritual help and meditate on cleansing and clearing. So given that the full moon is coming, the full moon magnifies our intentions for healing. So if you, for example, if you're a Reiki practitioner and you want to send Reiki to the situation of peace, peace in the Middle East, peace in Europe, peace in the United States, peace in Canada, peace wherever there is no peace, peace on the planet Earth, peace in the universe. You have your Reiki protocols for sending, if you're a second degree practitioner, and even if you're first, you can write it on a piece of paper and put your hands on it. But during the full moon on Tuesday night or Tuesday morning, if that's better for you, this would be the time to send Reiki toward peace, because your intention along with that energy is going to be magnified up to 100 times. It's going to be way easier for the universe and all the angels and all the spirits to act on your intention if it is for peace. Understanding, peace, love, and understanding between the races, between the police and regular people, between people in the Middle East and people in Europe who they consider to be the others. Just anybody who feels as if there are others that they need to make a strike against. What would be best if you're a meditator or doing Reiki is to pray for peace to fill their hearts. Pray for love to fill their hearts versus hatred, anger, frustration, and love. And if you can visualize that, you may not know who's out there who wants to do something next, who's most frustrated, but you can say things like, okay, this is a healing for all the frustrated people in the world who feel their voices are not heard, who feel they are not respected, who feel that they are under threat. And this is on any side of any fence. Anyone who feels like they need to take matters into their own hands by doing something violent, with a gun, with a truck, with whatever, pray for them or send Reiki to or meditate with a visualization that their hearts, their anger, frustration, and rage is replaced, is taken from them by spirit, if it is okay with them, if it is okay with their higher self, that it is taken for them and replaced with love and peace and understanding. Because what we're coming up against are issues of how people behave that are not regulatable. And there's a lot of debate online about, should the government step in, at least in the United States, should the government step in and regulate guns? Well, yeah, maybe the semi-automatics, but what do you do when you have somebody who's really good with a rifle? Then you can't really regulate that. So what we can do is we can ask Spirit for help, ask the angels for help, ask for divine intervention. And in ourselves, when we find that we are becoming angry and frustrated and enraged, ask for our own healing, for our own hearts and for our own frustrations, and really attempt to stop looking at situations as an us and a them. Now, you may be on here and be a conspiracy theorist, and there may be a big thems for you, but sometimes that type of thinking is not going to be helpful in the long run. There may be conspiracies, but there are more healthy ways to be energetically and emotionally involved with them than us and them. And hopefully we can have that bigger discussion later. How do you energetically involve yourself with a conspiracy when there is some them and there is an us or there is a me? I would like to tell people that I've been involved in one of the biggest conspiracies of all time, which is squelching disclosure of the UFOs, and it's personally affected my whole entire life. So I'm not going to tell you that there are no conspiracies, because I know that there are. But it becomes very tiring energetically when you hold frustration about the conspiracy in your heart, when you hold anger, when you hold worthlessness, when you hold an emotion inside your body, mind, and spirit about the conspiracy that you are suffering from personally. I became very ill when I found myself face to face with the government's and desire to stop disclosure of anything to do with aliens. I went out in the media, I went to Harvard, I went to MIT, I fought, and just the energetic pushback and also the anger, frustration, and rage with how I was treated and others who were working with me was treated made me become very ill. I didn't go to a loony bin. I got physically ill. I got chronic fatigue syndrome, and probably caught Epstein-Barr somewhere in there. And it's been a long road of 25 years of getting over holding anger, frustration, and rage in my heart over that conspiracy. So if I have learned anything that might help you, if you're feeling frustrated and that your voice is not heard and that you're angry, it's don't hold it in your heart. There are other ways to deal with a conspiracy that do not involve hurting yourself mentally, emotionally, or physically, or energetically, and do not involve hurting anyone else. And one of those ways is to just keep talking, to just keep putting information out there. But it may need to be toned down, it may need to be toned or tuned so that it's not an us and them that creates frustration and anger and rage. You can keep going without rage. A lot of us think that in order to fight the machine or fight Big Brother, that we need anger, we need adrenaline. But there's a way to do it with very little of that, which is to ask for spiritual help, which is to ask the angels and ask Spirit, help me handle this situation, or help this situation, or help heal the situation in a way that is for the highest good of myself and everyone else. Spirit, give me guidance. God, give me guidance on what I can do to be helpful in this situation in a way that is peaceful, in a way that is effective, in a way that is noticed, in a way that does good for myself and everyone else in the world. And when you start tuning your feelings about these different conspiracies or these different lacks of freedom, when you start tuning them, you stop using anger, frustration, and rage, and you stop hurting your body, and you stop having the potential that anger, frustration, and rage will spill out onto someone else. It is incredibly frustrating to be in a family that is African American. I have African American and Black and African brothers and sisters, and I cannot tell you how offended I am. And this goes to the people in the United States who are feeling offended by, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. I can't tell you the times that I've been offended just being in the presence in a public place with my brothers and sisters and watching how people react to them because they weren't white or they're not white. Now, I also have an interesting family in that some of them don't have arms and legs, and they still do backflips and crazy, incredible physical feats of, stuff, because my dad was a physical educator and taekwondo teacher. But that aside, my backflipping, legless, armless brothers and sisters who are not white, that aside, that there's more of a reaction to the fact that they will come to places which are mainly populated by white people, and white people will freak out. And if you wonder, why people are upset and frustrated and angry, I'm white. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. I'm angry when I see it happen. And I know that people are afraid of my brothers and sisters, and they're raised in exactly the same way that I was raised, on a farm with horses in the Midwest, with my parents. So I have to, we all pull back, and we all have to take a step back and remember, if people are not open to us when they see us immediately presenting who we are in our integrity, to try again and try again without the anger, frustration, and rage, and try again with the kindness and the understanding and the patience that this is somebody who can be helped by us being who we are and trying again, instead of writing them off and making them an other. So maybe one of the meditations for this full moon on Tuesday is to go through a list of people that you have made into the other, and perhaps intention that their otherness drops away as your otherness drops away. Because sometimes first impressions are completely and utterly wrong. It doesn't matter how intuitive we think we are. Sometimes our first impressions in a moment are completely and utterly wrong. And the way that we can hold space for each other in peacefulness is to not make each other be a them, not make someone be an other, not make someone necessarily be immediately threatening, just by the fact that they exist and that they are different. Max Steinberg said an interesting thing last night. He was talking about working with the human colonies, working with the Lyrans and some other groups, and how he never has been physically taken anywhere with aliens because he's always flunked the test. And the test was the test of aggression. And his test had to do with being faced by somebody who was very different than him, who was of a different ethnicity, a different height, a different weight, not as good looking, who met him on the street and started in a very thick accent asking him to do something for them and being very agitated about it. And then at the same time, there were these other people that came down the street who looked very threatening. Well, what did Max do? Being faced with being sandwiched between two sets of others, he became violent. And so the alien said, well, we can't really have you physically interact with us, because when you're faced with people who are different, you become afraid and then you become violent. So another thing to think about on this full moon, and to think about in yourself, is what makes you afraid about other people who are not like you, or even what makes you afraid of aliens or gnomes or fairies or all that we talk about on a daily basis. But what makes you afraid, and is your fear really worth it? Is your fear helping you in any way, or is it holding you back from experiences that you could have that you could learn from and that could be very valuable to you? So perhaps asking Spirit to help you find your fear, identify your fear, and release your fear, so it becomes neutrality, so it becomes openness, would be a good meditation for the full moon at this time. And to wish that also for others, for anyone else who has been seeking to be released from fear. That might be a good full moon meditation or a good full moon prayer. Again, everything that you pray about, send energy to, meditate on, the intention behind it is going to be increased. And you can find different ways and different schools of thought on how to do this, but you might just want to sit and think about your own or get a group together. This full moon, what I'm going to be doing, and this will be the last I say about it, is I'm doing a clearing for my town. We've had some violence in my town, in Little Madrid, and some untoward events happening. So we're going to be doing a full moon meditation for clearing the energy of our space in our town and making it a positive place for people to be. And so that'll be Tuesday night at 8 if you want to do it for your town or for the world. I think we'll do our town and then the world. Tuesday night at 8 Mountain Time is when I'm going to be doing mine. So that's all about the full moon and our craziness. We have some paranormal news besides full moon this week. This is the thunder moon coming up on Tuesday, or the hay moon, or something else. And, there are people in the world who are cursed by lightning. And it's the time of year for lightning. I mean, most places we're going to get storms. But what's interesting is that there are people who will get hit, a few people in the world, who will get hit up to 7 times or more by lightning in their lifetimes. And it seems that once they're hit the first time, they get hit again and again and again. Even, they might be 40 years old or 50 years old, never hit by lightning. And then all of a sudden, they have a lightning strike that hits them. And then the next year they do. And then the year after. And then a few years after that. It's very interesting. So this is a story from Mysterious Universe, and it's talking about these people who are human lightning rods. And the most famous case of a so-called human lightning rod is of Roy Cleveland Sullivan, who worked as a park ranger in Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. My brother was a park ranger there. He also worked for the Park Service. I don't know if he was a ranger there, but I know that he did gun control. He took away the extra deer because he's a very good deer hunter. But Shenandoah is a really wonderful, beautiful park. This guy, Roy Sullivan, was tasked mostly with fire patrol. And between the years of 1942 and 1977, he was struck a total of 7 times by lightning. And this is the most officially recorded for any single person, and it earned him a place in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most lightning strikes on a single human being. He survived, more or less in one piece, all of the strikes. And unfortunately, he did feel he was changed. His second strike, which was odd, was he was in his truck. And the truck is supposed to act like a Faraday cage. It conducts electricity through the metal frame and dissipates the charge, and it goes directly into the ground. Well, what happened was it didn't. It hit him even though he was in the truck. So, and it seared off most of his hair, his eyebrows, and burned his watch and knocked him unconscious. And his truck was going along a mountain road, and it could have gone over a cliff, but it did stop before the cliff and went into a ditch right before it went into the cliff. So he was saved. He lived. He began to become very paranoid about lightning. And you can do that. I know people who talk to lightning, people who call in rain. I've called in rain before. The first time I did it as a kid, it ended up being this amazing lightning storm. So this is why I like this story, because I kind of have a thing about lightning. I've never been struck by it, but I've been able to call in rainstorms and lightning storms. And anyway, he became to be afraid of lightning. He felt like it was after him, and if there was a storm anywhere, it started moving toward him. And if there was lightning involved, that the lightning was coming after him. And he thought that there was a mysterious force that was out to get him. Maybe we should do a show on this about, is there a mysterious force in lightning? I know that Patrick is finding aliens in the atmosphere. I should probably listen to Patrick's show and find out if he's talking about aliens and lightning, because Sullivan really, really got a bit crazy. So unfortunately, he earned a nickname. They called him the Spark Ranger and the Human Lightning Rod. And he was not killed by lightning, but it may be that the dread that he had of being struck again and the paranoia that he had that lightning was after him finally ended up killing him because he was found dead in 1983 of a gunshot wound to the head, which appeared to be self-inflicted. And it was really unclear what drove him to commit suicide, but he did have chronic fear and he was depressed because lightning kept coming after him. So this July, as we go into the thunder moon, let's use the thunder moon for good, not striking people with lightning. Let's use it for peace and love and understanding and letting go of anger, frustration, and rage. Let's use it for breaking down our divides versus building them up. And avoid thunderstorms. You know, if you think the lightning's after you, get inside. Be safe. And that is our paranormal news of the week. I think in a moment we are going to take a break and go into our announcements and advertisements and all of those good things. Dave, are you there?
I may be hiding a little bit behind the scenes, but I am here for you.
Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Dave.
How are you? Normally I don't get to play on the weekends.
I know. I'm good. I'm so glad you're here.
You know what? I actually had to come off the mountain early to help you out tonight, so I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. And, you know, I think it's going to be fun to be hanging out with you, Liz, because I don't get to do that often.
I know. I think it's fun. I'm happy.
I'll be manning the board. We're going to step out for a break, if you don't mind. And then when we come back, we'll get into a nice BS session.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
Hi there. This is your medium, Joanna, from Spaced Out Weekend, 2 mediums and a large. I would love it if you would come and join us with host James Tyson every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. Together, we will take your calls and your questions live. Our goal is to provide you with a positive outlook on deep questions that you may have. Questions regarding love, relationships, money, or whatever else is on your mind. Come and check us out at spacedoutradio.com.
Every Saturday and Sunday night, as Dave Scott wanders aimlessly in the wilderness, you can come hang out with me, James Tyson, in Spaced Out Weekend. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, I'll take you along as we talk with some of the best experts in their fields. SpacedOutRadio.com is the place to find us. So sit down, relax, put your feet up. Enjoy the topics like the paranormal, supernatural, intuitiveness, and so much more. Hope to see you there.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm here to bring you the Webster Phenomena every Saturday night, live at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. If you're looking for aliens and extraterrestrials, well, we've got them. Big and tall, short and small. You're bound to find what you're looking for, so join me on the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Have you ever wondered about those weird and strange creatures people have reported throughout history? Do you wonder if those stories are real? Me too, and that's why I started Cryptopia.us. Hey, this is Rob Morphy, crypto historian. Join me once a month on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, where we will get into the odd and bizarre reports, from the Dover Demon to hairy hominids and everything in between. I will break down what people like you and me are seeing at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost?
Look no further than Spaced Out Radio.
SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click on to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on radio
or our website, including social media.
From commercial spots to banners, we have it all.
Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4Cop. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
Want to connect with us online? Find us on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show, on Twitter, @Spaced Out Radio, on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR, on YouTube, Spaced Out Radio Show, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. All right, space travelers, here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio.
And we're back with Spaced Out Radio Weekend. This is your host before the host, who's not here tonight, Elizabeth Anglin. James Tyson is still out in Barkerville, and Dave Scott is here with us. Very special visit from Dave. Yay!
Yay!
Dave.
Yay!
Yay! You went to Barkerville. How
did.
Was it?
You know what? It was my first time ever being there. I was driving up the road because literally I had never been there before, so there's this big sign off the highway that says Barkerville, and in kilometers, 87 kilometers that way. I don't know which way that way is. I think it was actually east. And so I'm driving and going up these mountains and curves and turns, and there's signs for moose and deer and elk and caribou all over the place. Come down this mountainside to get kind of into a valley, and saw my first deer there. Well, not the first one ever, but on the trip. Come around another corner. This is a first. I actually saw a porcupine waddling off the street and into the bush. I didn't realize they were that big.
Yeah. I have porcupine as a totem. So when I was up in Colorado, there were always porcupines around. Wyatt.
Is that because you're prickly?
No, porcupine has to do with, porcupines are very, very sweet, and I'm sure that someone would say, yeah, good to eat. That's why they have their spiky things. They're very gentle, and they're very sweet, and that's why they need the spines, because they literally don't have any intentions of, on their own, ever doing any other creature any harm. They are good they're good for intuitives, because sometimes when we're empaths and we're intuitives, we don't put up enough walls, and so we can be very vulnerable and hurt all the time. And porcupine is kind of reminds us to protect ourselves. Unfortunately, they've really over-evolved their protection, but they are a reminder for intuitives to protect themselves. And they also like salt. That's why you'll see them on the road. And salt is protective. And so sometimes if you're a spiritual worker and there are astral entities around, you'll hear people say, put salt around your bed or put salt in front of your door or carry some salt with you. And porcupines are very salty. They love salt. They eat a lot of salt. So they resonate with empaths and intuitives. And I love them. I spent a ton of money on Wyatt, though, because he got porcupine quills in his mouth 3 times. And they will kill a dog, and so some people will just kill him outright. Because if your dog doesn't learn not to bite him, your dog could easily die from that.
I could see that. I could see that. Well, it was interesting. Barkerville in British Columbia here is probably our most famous ghost town. And it's about a mile-long strip of old buildings. A lot of the originals are there, and they've moved in a bunch of other original buildings from around the province to kind of extend it. And I went with James and the team from Chronicles of the Unknown, who will be on the show tomorrow night with me, to do a charity ghost hunt. And so I pull in there at about 8:30 last night, and they are setting up, and I'm looking in the parking lot, and it is filled with Camaros. And lo and behold, get to the saloon. We were doing a charity ghost hunt for a Western Canada Camaro club. And I tell you, there were some interesting people there. They didn't really believe in what we were doing or anything like that, but some of them had some really cool experiences. I went in one of the most haunted places in there, which is called the Barkerville Hotel. And apparently one of the ghosts that is the most prevalent there is the bartender at the hotel. Well, I ended up playing bartender. He no-showed, the ghost that is. And I literally sat around there waiting for groups to come through, doing nothing. We had one wall knock. One knock on the wall, just a quick little, and that was it. And it, 2 hours I was in there.
I'm so having this vision of you as the bartender at the hotel in The Shining saying, she must be corrected. Did you take advantage of being spooky or scary, or did you just...
Well, we had all the lights off. And, I think I was a little disappointed because, here we were doing this charity ghost hunt, and you want something so bad to happen. And I understand that, it takes time. It takes, you can't be there for 10 minutes and expect, like the haunted castle at Disneyland where something is happening every 10 seconds. It's not like that when you're on a ghost hunt. You have to be there sometimes for hours to get one little flash of evidence. So these people, I think they were a little frustrated because not only were a lot of them non-believers, but there was a bunch of skeptical people, and then there was the people who had the real open minds. And, it was just difficult because you're trying to, move them along every 20 minutes into a different building, and it just, for me, it wasn't what a real ghost hunt was all about, and I don't think that the people enjoyed it as much as they probably should have, because I think the idea with a lot of people, like I said, is... they go into these things thinking that something's going to happen automatically just because there's said to be ghosts in there, and it just doesn't work that way.
No, it's the thing. We had a thing. It's not ghost hunting, but we did a thing down here where we were working with Mustangs, and we were going to go walk slowly up to this group of Mustangs, and the head of the group told some people that it was a spiritual experience. And one of the rules to not scare the Mustangs away, like you could scare ghosts away, which I think you can, was that we all walked in a straight line very slowly, and we stayed together, and we had some distance between each other so that they would all see us coming, but we would be coming so slowly that they wouldn't run. Well, what happened was for example, everybody got these expectations that they were going to have this spiritual experience with Mustangs. And one of the people went off about a quarter mile in front of everybody else and ran all the Mustangs off. And then when the biologist who had us walking in the line so we wouldn't scare him said to her, why did you do that? And she said, well, because I'm having a spiritual experience, and you saying anything to me is ruining my spiritual experience. And that's been something I've thought about for a long time. It's like when you tell people you're going to see a ghost, or you're going to see a spirit, or you're going to have this interaction with an animal, it can just the expectation itself can chase away the event sometimes. Just be
absolutely.
open.
Absolutely. And, I think for a lot of people, we just have to realize that when you go out on a paranormal investigation for the first time, you just have to have patience. And, this group, they had been partying there since probably dinner time. And at this time when we got the investigation going, it was already after midnight. So a couple of them were pretty much 3 sheets to the wind. A few of them bailed, actually, on going because their party night was over. But it was beautiful. And I did post some pictures on my Facebook page and the Chronicles of the Unknown Facebook pages. So it's a beautiful little town. It really is something that, if you're ever visiting British Columbia and you fly into Vancouver, it is worth the 7-8 hour drive north to go check out this piece of history. And what was really cool is the guys yesterday before I got there, the whole mountains surrounding this town, because it was a gold mining town, they're filled with gold. And the guys were saying that around the town there was this helicopter sending down, I'm going to say, sonar into the ground, because they're still trying to find where the gold pockets are. And they wait for it to get warm before they find the gold pockets with the sonar. So it was really cool watching this sonar spinning around and around from the bottom of a helicopter. I wish I would have got to see that.
Yeah, that would be neat. And it does, it does speak to the economy too, that they're still looking for gold, that they're thinking about going back to places that have become ghost towns and opening up the mines again. So,
well, northern British Columbia is filled with gold mines, and mining and forestry is what keeps the northern part of this province going. So it's something where, along the Gold Rush Trail, this is along the same areas where they were doing this 140, 150 years ago, if not longer. In trying to establish the Gold Rush Trail right into the Yukon and Alaska. And this is a trail that, started in California and Nevada and came straight up the coast, much like the I-5 does. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of gold still up there. There's a lot of prospecting claims still up there as well that are still active. And everybody wants to try and get their piece of the pie. You're just looking for the right nugget to hit it rich, I guess.
Yeah. It's an interesting business to be in. I had an ex who was a gold miner in Alaska, and he did that terrible environmental thing where it was placer mining, but they were washing away the bank of the river. I think it was the Yukon. It was either the Tanana or the Yukon, and they were basically just destroying the bank of the river and pulling the placer bits out. And he later became a great environmentalist, but he had the most fun that he had ever had in his life he did like 1.5 years or 2 years of gold mining on the Yukon or Tanana, can't remember which one. But man, to be that individual and to go up there and do that is that's really cool.
And you're right in the middle of wilderness, like Barkerville. It's like in a valley of 2 mountains, and this is a tiny valley. Okay, like the valley is maybe 3-4 football fields wide. That's it. Like it is not a big valley where this town is in. And in that area, I mean, you have to be careful. There's cougars that wander around. There's foxes, wolves. Grizzly bears have visited the town. Black bears have visited the town. So it is really, really out there, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And it's funny because I saw the town coming up on the road. I don't know if it's a highway or a road or whatever it is, but I saw the town coming up, and then I realized, wow, I've never really traveled a highway like this. It all of a sudden just comes to a dead end with a ghost town right there. So it's just a neat place.
Yeah. It sounds a bit like Telluride. It's a dead end. It's in a valley, and there's no place to go. You're in the Box Canyon, and there you are, and that's the end. Cool. Well, that's really neat. So, did anything else happen? Did you meet anybody who you didn't meet before, or know up there, who you think should come on the show or something?
You know what? It was basically us and the Chronicles of the Unknown team, and there's one of the curators for the museum, and then this Camaro Club, and that was basically it. You know, I mean, you got to realize up there, it's not like being near a major city where they have a museum where there's, hundreds of people walking through there on a day. You're in the middle of nowhere. Like if you threw a dart on a map of the province of British Columbia, I doubt you'd even hit this place. I mean,
wow. So any Bigfoot vibes?
Absolutely. It's funny you mention that. It's funny you mention that because they have, as you come down the mountain before you get into the valley to drive the road into Barkerville, there is this canyon, and it is called the Devil's Canyon. Well, as I started coming down that Devil's Canyon, and people who have experienced Bigfoot, like you, Elizabeth, myself, okay, you get this feeling that when you're in an area where there's Bigfoot around, it's like you can just feel them. Like you can feel their energy and their presence. And when I started coming from the top of the mountain through this Devil's Canyon, that they call it, and it's a beautiful, beautiful drive. Very windy. You got to take it pretty slow. But it was straight Bigfoot energy coming out of there. And even in Barkerville, I remember saying to Mike Morin from Chronicles of the Unknown, I said, man, I cannot believe how much Bigfoot and extraterrestrial energy is actually in this place. I said, in fact, like last night, I was picking up more extraterrestrial energy and Bigfoot energy than I was paranormal or ghost energy, spirit energy. It was the weirdest thing. And the guys the night before had actually had a really cool UFO sighting. So it kind of made sense to me. But I guess you have to be an experiencer. Like anybody listening to this, they're going to say, oh, I'm going to call BS on that. I don't feel anything and I've seen a UFO, or I don't feel anything and I've seen a ghost. But if you tune in and you're sensitive enough to figure out what those feelings are, Liz, you know what I'm talking about here when you can feel that energy.
Well, yeah, on the Uncompahgre Plateau, like after I started having my conversations with the old man, I would ask about other members of their group, and these were normally younger male members of the group, because I would ask, the family would get near and they'd come by, and when they were near, I'd have more conversations with them, because I didn't want to bug them if they weren't near, they weren't really visiting then. But I'd ask them, what are the others doing? And they really do like canyons, like you're talking about. So I would get like a picture. You kind of get shifted over to where groups of young men were staying in Happy Canyon on the north side of the Uncompahgre Plateau that runs down into Montrose, Colorado, that they like to stay in Happy Canyon. And then there's another canyon just to the west of it. I'm not going to name it, but it is the perfect Bigfoot canyon. It is private land. So it's not overrun with people on ATVs coming in, for the multi-use groups. It's all private ranch land, and it has beautiful trees in it, and it's so remote, and it's long, and there's all sorts of habitat and food down in this canyon. And the first time I came up over the Uncompahgre on Route 90, it's off of Route 90, so if you're on the Uncompahgre, you'll know where I'm talking about. And I looked and I saw the canyon open up. And then as I got closer to the edge of the canyon, I saw the deciduous trees and the flat bottom and the water in the flat bottom of the canyon. I went, oh yeah. And I got chills all over. I was like, oh yeah, this is one of the canyons. They come up. Oh yeah. And you have to be somebody who's had contact to really feel it, because it'll give you chills, and you'll know exactly this is what Bigfoot, this is where they are, this is what they like, this is where they live. And then you also get a sense this is their life. And it's very much, it feels good because we have a part of us where we used to live in places like that, in those beautiful canyons with the flat bottoms and the deciduous trees, in family groups and clans. So anyway, yes, I know what you mean, that it's like, when you get it, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it is so comforting in those areas because, I mean, when it's warm, it's warm. When it's cold, it is cold. Like at night, well, that was the first night last night that I actually needed a jacket outside. I think it dipped into single digits last night. But when you're that high up, the funny part about it was we're standing around. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. And Mike from Chronicles of the Unknown, he's looking towards the west, but he thinks he's looking east. And he goes, wow, we're up late. This is the sun coming up. Look at the sun coming up over there. I said, Mike, we're this high north. That's the sun. It hasn't gone down yet. And he's like, what? He goes, no, that's east. And I'm like, no, that's actually west that you're looking. I said, the moon's behind us, right? I said, so figure it out, But, I mean, when you're that high north, you kind of get screwed up on your distance. And when you live near the Vancouver area, I mean, it's dark at 10:30 at night, 10:45 at night in the summer. But when you're that high up, and, you're halfway between Vancouver or the 49th parallel, which separates our countries, and the Yukon and Alaska, where they're getting 24-hour sunshine right now, or 23 hours sunshine. It's kind of funny because it screwed me up a few months ago when all of a sudden, a couple months ago, when I looked outside and it's 11 o'clock and I'm looking, like, oh, it's still daylight out. Like, I'm looking out my window right now. We're 10 minutes to the top of the hour, and I still see dusk. So it's kind of funny to see people's reactions like that for the first time.
Oh, wow. I'm down south. The sun is down. It goes down at 8 o'clock. I remember in Michigan it was more like where you are, but oh well. We used to play baseball. We used to play baseball late at night. Now down south, we have to go to sleep.
One of my goals in this lifetime, and it is on my bucket list, I'd like to go up to the Yukon, and I'd like to tee off a golf game at like midnight. Mm-hmm. I just think that would be the coolest thing, teeing off. Yeah, can we set our tee time for midnight, please? I think that would be fantastic. Yeah. Just to try it out, just to say you did it,
Well, and then you'll get really silly because your body will get all whacked out. So by 4 o'clock in the morning, it'll be time to drink and be very silly. So yeah, I think you should do it.
I think so too. I think it's one of those things I'm gonna have to fly my dad up there, and because he's the golfer of the family. I quit golf 7 years ago because my clubs didn't want to work for me anymore. So I figured it was them, not me. So we had a parting of the ways. And we've kind of left it at that.
And the other thing it leads open is to sort of extreme golfing. Like you could go out on a glacier and drill some holes and do some extreme golfing. And if your golf if you end up golfing into a crevasse, well, that's your bunker. Never mind. I have mind movies. You shouldn't get me started on my mind movies of different games you can make with environments. But glacier golfing, you should try that. Just wear cleats.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to hop out for a break because I'm going to play a commercial break here. Then we are going to bring in our intro, well, my intro, to start 2 mediums and a medium and an extra large. Boy, we need a drink tray for tonight.
We do. Now, and do we need to tell people the number? Because
yes. If you want to call in tonight to 2 mediums, a medium, and a extra large, because the large isn't here, you can call in at 1-702-302-4556. We're going to start taking calls in about 10 to 15 minutes. So warm up your dialing fingers. And if you have the old rotary dial phone, well, just press 1. I'm kidding. You're listening to Spaced Out Weekend with Elizabeth Anglin's Cosmic Passport. I'm just here for the ride. Dave Scott here hanging out. We'll be right back.
Greetings and salutations, space travelers, from the Chronicles of the Unknown team.
What is Chronicles of the Unknown? I keep hearing about this thing.
It's a new paranormal reality TV show based right here in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Follow our team as we uncover claims of activity on the Caribou Gold Rush Trail. You can also follow us here every third Monday, where 2 members of our team will be available to answer your questions. We'll give you some equipment updates and some of our experiences on the road, right here on Spaced Out Radio on the Spreaker.com network.
Do you believe you've been in contact with extraterrestrials? Have you seen the Greys, the Mantis, or the Reptilians? I am Samantha Mullet, and on the second Tuesday of each month, you can listen and learn from my experiences with off-worlders on Spaced Out Radio's The ET Experience. With host Dave Scott, we'll sit down and chat about what's going on with our friends from other worlds. We'll also try to answer your questions, so please tune in on the second Tuesday of the month, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Did you know that Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi, it's James Tyson from Spaced Out Weekend. Every Saturday and Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, you can join me and my guests for some great chatter about what's going on out in the universe, or even in that dark part of the basement you really don't want to go back into. Well, let's find the answers to your experiences together. So come on up to Uncle Jimbo's cabin on the weekend. For more information, look us up at spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Attention Spaced Out Radio listeners, for only $5 a month you can join Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. Your membership at spacedoutradio.com will give you access to private fan area on the website, get you a monthly newsletter, draws for monthly swag, and a whole lot more. Sign up today to become a part of the Spaced Out Radio experience.
Right here, this is where we divulge the fruit of our research. Here on the Webster Phenomena every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern on Spaced Out Radio. And we give it up to you guys, all the listeners and the live listeners. You usually get something special and a hang out in the chat room, and we love to have you. So we'll see you every Saturday night at 8 p.m. You know where.
If you're a fan of social media, you can follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter, @Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can also follow us on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. Our YouTube channel, where our archives are stored, is Spaced Out Radio Show. And of course, our website is spacedoutradio.com. Let your experience begin right now. From high atop the mountains of British Columbia to you listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Radio. You can follow us on our website, spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter, @SpacedOutRadio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can follow us on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR, or on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go for a ride as we are live on Spaced Out Radio.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening and welcome to Two Mediums, a Medium, and a Large. Make that an extra large. I'm the extra large tonight, Dave Scott, with Elizabeth Anglin. We are filling in for Uncle Jimbo, James Tyson, who is up in Barkerville, British Columbia, doing a ghost hunt with Chronicles of the Unknown. Elizabeth, how are you?
Okay. How are you?
I am great, and we have Paisley and Serb in tonight, pinch hitting for Joanna Banca, who is probably doing her hair or makeup or something along those lines, the pretty doll she is.
That's true. Hi, Dave.
Hi. You know, it's good to have you guys with us. So this is how it's going to work tonight, because everything is a little bit different with Uncle Jimbo not manning the controls, and instead we got the extra large Dave Scott in here. What will be happening is I will be introducing the calls. Elizabeth is hosting, and your mediums for tonight are Paisley Town, our resident numerologist, and we have our best friend, Serb Candola, who is just outstanding in what she does. So,
thank you.
We're going to get to it right off the bat here, and we have Michael on the phone line. So we're going to bring Michael in. Elizabeth, there you go.
Hi, Michael. How are you this evening?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
Good. What is your question for Paisley and Serb?
Thank you. Yes, I am out of work for the last almost 10 months, and I'm just wondering, as I kind of running out of all the options, just curious if there is a light in the end of this tunnel, excuse me.
So,
anybody want to try it?
Michael, when is your birthday?
Excuse me?
Michael, when is your birthday? Your date of birth?
Oh, yeah, January 16th.
Okay.
I'm a Capricorn.
And what's the year that you're born?
1972.
Thank you so much. Because I do numerology, I can answer questions more easily when I have someone's birthday, so that's very helpful. Thank you. And do you work in an administrative capacity, or do you do customer service or work in the healing or the arts industry?
I'm a marketer.
Okay, so that would be creative arts, I would think. And is your question, when are you going to find work, or what exactly is your question tonight?
Yes, will I find a work and how soon? Because it's been almost 10 months, and I'm kind of struggling finding anything. And
Sure. Well, your birthday would indicate to me, Michael, that you know that you'll find work. And sometimes what happens for you is that the trust isn't always there, that everything's going to fall into place. And then that creates a little bit of fear for you. Does that resonate with you, what I'm saying, the way I'm explaining it?
Yeah, a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about the trust. So your birthday, when I look at it, it has the elements of water, water, water. So this would indicate to me that you're very scientific and very methodical in the way that you do things, and that it's very important for you to trust yourself that things are going to work out. Because as soon as you have a little bit of hesitation or a little bit of panic, that presents itself so that you're in a bit of fear. And because your name is Michael, and because when I add your birthday together, that's a 9, and the name Michael's a 6, these two numbers strongly indicate to me that you have a lot of compassion. You'd be very passionate about whatever it is that you're marketing, because you want to really be of service and give people a good product or a good, whatever it is that you're marketing. So it's really important that you go back and trust yourself. So if there's anything you can think of to do that would pump up your confidence, so for example, doing some cardio activity or something like that, it'll help you pump up your confidence so that you can trust yourself. And the moment you start trusting yourself more is when the job offers are going to come in for you. So when you're asking me when, I can't give you a date, but I can say, go back inside yourself and trust yourself, not to be looking outside yourself for that confidence. Does that make sense, what I'm saying now?
Yes, but I was just wondering, maybe kind of a time frame. Of course, I'm not asking for any date, but just maybe 2-3 months, a year, or, just a feeling.
Mm-hmm. And sir, do you have anything to add to the conversation?
What I have to add is, good job, Paisley, by the way.
Thank you.
What I'm saying is, Mike, what I see for you is I feel like deep down that you do, obviously you want to get back to work. There's financial needs. There's just a need to be productive and get out there and do your thing. But I'm also sensing that you definitely are not willing to, you're wanting to get back to work, but what you want to get back to is something that you love doing, not something that you have to do. So I feel like there's a little bit of a battle going on within you. Being a Capricorn, you are a very practical person. You don't have illusions about working. You got to get out there and work. You work hard. You like to start from the bottom. You like to work your way up. And it's time to go up. It's time to, I feel like whatever you've been doing, you're really good at it. And it's time to, but you found it overwhelming. So even though you're not working right now, there is something very overwhelming there about it when you were working. And so what's happening now is I feel like when you do go back into the workforce, it's going to be in a different capacity. Either you're going to be doing some teaching, consulting, training. There's something new coming up for you. You're really good at what you do, and there is work out there for you, but I also feel like it's not going to be the same thing that you were doing before. So if you're looking for the exact same job, I would suggest to you to broaden your what it is you're looking for, to allow, come out of that box a little bit and make room for other possibilities, because I do see you working, but I also see that you're a very creative person and that you have a lot to bring to the table, and just not in the same capacity as you did before. I feel like you're going to be training people, or you're going to be kind of leading more. I see you with a group of people and you're all laughing and you're having fun, and it's just lighter. It's lighter. Whatever you're doing is going to be lighter, and you're really good at it, and you're going to be successful at it. Does that make sense to you at all? Or?
Yes, thank you. But do you feel, what's the time frame? 3 months, 6 months?
This is a 6-month time frame. But that doesn't mean it's going to take 6 months for you to find work. If you start broadening your search, you will start to find like leads right away. Because right now, it's not the practical side of you that's in control. It's that inner soul that's in control, and that inner soul is not going to let you go back and do the same thing over and over again. It wants you to just change it up a little bit. You will find success in the area that you go into, and you will start getting some kind of, lead right away. Like pretty much within a few weeks, you'll start finding, either more training or you'll find, work that's going to lead to something different for you. But in the same field.
Awesome.
Okay, so it's going to happen pretty quick, but just follow your heart, okay? That's what I'm getting here. Follow your heart.
All right. Thank you for calling in, Mike. Elizabeth, we are going to go to a 480 area code right now.
Hi, you're on with Elizabeth Paisley and Serve. Hi, who's this?
Hi, my name is Michelle. I didn't realize I was going to get through so fast, so I was startled.
Oh,
my name is Michelle. I know, right?
Yeah.
So,
what's your question for?
I've never done this before. Well, I've never done this before, and I guess I just kind of want to know what's going on with my relationship. I've been with somebody for about 8 months, but I've known him for 15 years. And it's pretty serious, but it feels like it's back and forth with him. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on.
Well, I think usually Paisley and Serb sort of feel it out, and they tell you whoever wants to go first goes first. So what do you got, guys?
Serb, do you have any insight for Michelle?
Yeah, I'm still shuffling, but here we go. I'm going to get going on that right now. So what I always read for people when I first started reading is the underlying energy. So what that is that's just kind of the overlying energy for the situation. And what I see for you is this relationship was definitely meant to be. So it's definitely meant to happen. So whether it took however long it took to, get to that point, it was definitely meant to happen. I also feel like, now, are you a reader, or do you do anything that's metaphysical yourself, or?
Yeah, I have dreams, and a lot of times my dreams happen, like they come true.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that's what I see here for you. I see that you're definitely very intuitive yourself. In the middle of the reading here, I've got the Ace of Wands, which tells me that relationship-wise, there's a lot of creativity going on here, a new beginning, and, wonderful possibilities. And the reason I guess you're calling, I can kind of see why you're calling as well. I feel like there is definite possibility of a long-term relationship here. I feel like your values are very much in line. So I feel like, building a life together it's a huge possibility. And I also feel like there's a lot of guidance in the relationship as well, coming in through, like you said, your dreams, or through, just divine intervention. There's a lot coming through there. But then I've also got this energy. I feel like this relationship's also bringing out past hurt and emotional stuff that's really not so easy to deal with. And so I get that too. I also feel that this relationship it's deeper, and when a relationship gets deeper, it doesn't always mean better. It just means that we have to dig a little bit deeper and really look at ourselves. And, basically I feel like the connection to the divine needs to be strengthened, and that's what will help you through whatever it is you might be going through right now. Because I do see cards where I see some doubt here. I see the need to have some time alone to just build on that spiritual part of both of yourself. But because it's you on the phone, I would have to say to you to do that work and to just dig deep and just to know that when your relationship is really strong with the divine or source or the universe, it helps in every other aspect of your life. So... And I hope that helps. I'm also seeing financial stuff here. I don't know if there's anything going on financially, but I'm just seeing this energy of feeling left out in the cold, and then just worrying about finances a little bit as well. So, not sure what that's
definitely. About. Yeah,
most relationships go through that.
Yeah. Do you see? Can I ask you just one more question?
One quick question, and then we got a bunch of other callers.
Okay. Okay. One quick question, because I know he bought a ring to propose. Do you see a wedding?
Oh, let's have a look. So how did you find that out?
He told me back in April that he bought the ring. I just don't know when he's going to propose, and sometimes I feel like he's backing out, so I don't know if he's not sure or what.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like the friendship in your relationship is very strong. I also feel like emotionally things are going to get better. It's just going to take a little time. And then I feel like, the proposal, I don't feel like it's going to happen until, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't like doing timing because I'd be so super rich if I could do timing, but I feel like there's sometime in August and I know this is going to sound terrible, but sometime in August or December. There's just that. Okay. I've got this fire. I've got fire energy here. But I do see a little bit of a bump, and that bump I feel has to do with just needing to spend that time on your own individually and really work on your relationship with yourself first. Not with each other, but with you. Paisley, did you have anything to add?
That makes a lot of sense.
I did actually. Michelle, I just wanted to say I did pull one card for you while you're speaking with Serb from the Legacy Tarot deck. And it's the most positive card in my entire deck. So it's not telling me, what's going to happen with the proposal or the relationship, but it's the card called the Sun, and it's all about really good times ahead, positivity. Everything's going to fall into place, kind of like the completion of a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that's helpful to you.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
That's
me
amazing.
Too.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great evening.
This is the first time I've ever done this, and I really appreciate it. You guys have a great evening.
No problem.
You too.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Elizabeth, we're going to go to a 778 area state, if you don't mind.
Hello.
Hi. You're on with Elizabeth Paisley, Serb, and Dave. This is Elizabeth. Can you tell me your name and your birth date? Oh, I can't hear you.
My name is Felicia.
Hi.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me better now?
Yes,
My name is Felicia. My birthday is November 13, 1980.
And what's your question?
My question is, I'm in a relationship, and it's been since October last year, and I'm not sure where this is going. I feel like I got a mixed messages, so I'm not sure where he stands.
So Felicia, are you asking the question? What are the mixed messages, or what's your question?
Well, I guess my question is, does he actually really want to be with me?
Can you give me his birthday and his name, and I'll run the numbers while maybe Sir can shuffle her cards.
Birthday is February 13, 1975.
Okay.
Name's Walt.
Walter?
No.
Just Walt.
No ER.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. And Sir, did you have any information for Felicia?
Yes. I think that Walt is going through a bit of a rough patch right now. I don't know if he's I feel like he's going through an inner struggle. It's temporary. We all go through them sometimes, and it's not personal. And I know that that's really hard to fathom when you're in a relationship. It's hard not to take it personally. But as far as the way he feels about you goes, I feel that I see nothing but really positive energy here. I feel like he sees you as a good friend, and I think friendship's very important in relationships. He also sees you as the very feminine and really appreciates your intuition and the way you see the world. He also feels very connected to you. So I feel like there's this energy of, I don't know if you've had a past life with him before, but it's a very familiar relationship. I feel like when you met, it just felt really good, really fast, like really familiar. The Lovers, I've got the Lovers card here, and I've got the Three of Pentacles again. So that's, again, very positive. Just decisions to be made around the relationship. I feel like he's in a bit of a cyclical change right now. So I feel like the old is going and the new is coming in. And that takes about a good year to kind of make its way through this cycle. And he also sees you as very independent. So, that's all really, really positive. So I'm not seeing anything other than that. Does that make sense to you, or?
Yeah, it's interesting when you say that soul connection, because I do feel it, but then sometimes I feel like, is it just my emotions, or is it like that is real, that connection? So
no, the connection is real, but what's happening right now is there's a lot of internal changes going on. That you are feeling left out in the cold right now, but what I see around the whole relationship is really positive. So I don't know what's going on right now. I just feel like there's a huge shift happening, and that happens, again with everybody, and it's just to ride it through, I guess.
Right. I guess I just have to wait until he goes through that cycle. I don't even know if it's worth to wait, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, did I ask the question?
Sorry, Felicia, I just wanted to quickly tell you that because your birthdays are both 13s on the day that you're born, that you guys are very, very compatible. But what happens for you is sometimes your style of communication with each other is very, very different. You communicate from the heart through gestures, and his communication style should be through words and communication and language. And so sometimes you're just not on the same page at the same time. Does that resonate for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so just keep that in mind, that there will be points where when you're not on the same page, you'll be questioning yourself, saying, oh my gosh, am I making the right decision? But just trust that it's going to work, because harmony and collaboration and teamwork works very well for both of you. And I pulled the card of strength, which tells me the ball's in your court as to whether this relationship moves forward or stops moving forward. So this is all up to you. So create safety for yourself so that you can move forward with it if that's what your wish is.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
We're going to take another caller here. This one from a 206 area code, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Hi. If you can hear me, I'm having a hard time hearing the show, Dave. Yes, what's your name? And if you're okay with giving your birth date, what's your birth date?
My name is Alan, and the birthday is 1759.
We're going to get you to speak up a little bit more, caller, if you don't mind.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Alan. The birth date is 1759.
Perfect. And did you have a question for us, Alan?
Okay. Yes, I actually met my twin flame 5 years ago and had a huge spiritual awakening. A lot of unusual, unexplainable things have occurred. One thing that I'm curious about is I go in and get regular aura pictures taken, and every time I've had an aura picture taken, nobody's been able to explain what this means. They just say it's very spiritual, whatever it is. But my twin, his entire physical body and his fully defined facial features and his entire aura show up behind me in every aura picture, inside my aura, with his arm over my shoulder. And so I'm kind of curious what that means, because nobody's been able to explain why. They just say they've never seen anything quite like it before.
Sure, I'd be happy to speak to that. I don't study aura pictures, but because I do psychic readings when I'm live in front of people, the way that spirit comes to me is that if spirit is standing behind a person, it identifies as someone who got your back, someone who's supporting you, someone who you don't even have to needed them to my back. If I really far behind you, supporting you, it's like checking your spine. Does that resonate for you? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
We're having a little bit of a Skype issue right now, so let's just give it a couple of seconds here, and we'll try and get this back going, because I know Elizabeth is also having troubles hearing right